right, everybody's doing good. This is our last little session. Let's welcome Melissa. Give her a warm applause.
Thanks, Jeff.
I tell you, we're showing you guys some pretty cool new products. That last session there was a lot of topics around messaging, which is a little bit of what Melissa and I are going to talk about this morning. So, Melissa, give us a little bit of an idea about your journey at Storage Asset Management. Maybe tell them who Storage Asset Management is, and then tell us about your journey.
Yeah, definitely. So Storage Asset Management is a third-party property management firm, very much like we just heard from, but we're only on storage. So we solely manage self-storage facilities in 35 states. We have about 475 locations right now. So it's fun. We're the largest privately owned management firm and the 5th largest in the country. So believe it or not, Joe, people don't grow up and say, I want to be in self-storage.
When they're 7 years old,
Yeah.
what do you want to be?
Yeah, you don't really think about
Self-storage.
storage. Yeah. In fact, I never even thought about it until I answered a blind ad. I was working my background's in international, and I was working at the World Trade Center and needed to just be able to expand my wings and try new things. So I answered a blind ad, met with our founders, absolutely loved them, amazing people, and they were open to innovation, and there was a lot of opportunity. So when I joined the company about 8 years ago, we had 42 management contracts, and as I said, today we have 475, so amazing growth.
Okay, I think all three of my guests have been over their companies more than 8 years, so you got longevity.
Yeah.
So you've actually had an experience with Reputation Platform. Tell us a little bit about that experience over the last several years.
Yeah, so we started using your platform in 2015.
15, okay.
16, somewhere in that area.
That's good.
But so we started with the review requesting. So we saw other industries really using those reviews, restaurants, et cetera. And we know that about 50% of our storage customers never used storage before. So we felt those reviews were super important to be able to help them make that purchasing decision, but then also for SEO as well.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I think the topic this morning is messaging. Yes. So, okay, you're doing pretty good with the reviews with us. All of a sudden, we're telling you about this messaging capability that we're in beta on, and then you jump out and say, let's try it. Tell us about that.
Yeah, definitely. So we don't have as many locations as the two prior, but with over 10 locations, it's hard to manage the messages on the native Facebook and the native Google platforms. It's not easy. So when you guys came to us and told us about this inbox where we could manage all of the locations in one place, it was amazing to us. We could start to see metrics. We could start to see patterns. So.
What were the couple of use cases that you were using as that kind of jumped off the page?
Yeah, so we know with our messages, it's about 50% are sales leads and 50% are current customers. So they need things like how to pay their bill, their gate code. I told you they might be locked in their facility. Okay,
that's a little weird. Like, are you really going to Facebook message when you're locked in the storage facility?
Yeah, we get those. I'm like, maybe.
She's like, call 911, please.
Yeah. And Paige can tell you, our social media coordinator, we get some wild messages. But yeah, so we're able to use them for customer support, but also sales gen.
I would imagine that saves you money from people calling the call center and trying to get, basic questions answered.
Yeah, definitely. We enabled the chat on Google when it came out, and they're able to, actually prior to even visiting our website, you'll see that there's a message that they want to know how much a 10 by 10 is. I mean, that information is right on our website. It links it right there, but they're not going to the website. They're coming to Google and want to know that answer right away. So they're not pressing call, they're chatting. So.
Yeah. So you were talking to me a little about you basically had to turn the Google messaging feature on, and then all of a sudden it was like a freeway.
Oh, it definitely was. It definitely was. And I think that happened, during COVID, people wanted to have instant communication and that instant answer.
Which I would think is different than Instagram or Facebook, because they're not going to Instagram and Facebook probably to search a property as much as they would Google Maps, because it's like, find me a property near me, and bam, I'm already in sending a note to you.
Yeah, definitely. I think, and to your point, our Facebook messages seem to be more current customers, and then our Google seem to be more sales.
Yeah, Facebook for complaints, Google for more.
100%.
Yeah. What when you look at those use cases for messaging, I noticed that you were one of the early testers of the autoresponder. Tell us why you
Yes.
had to put that into action.
Yeah, I think they just mentioned this as well. So if you don't answer the messages, Google frowns upon that. I mean, that's the first part, right? We don't want anything to hinder our ability to rank well. The second part is that customers expect instant answers. We're in a world where if they ask a question, they want to know. So we're able to set an autoresponder during business hours that say, we'll respond to you within an hour. And then we're able to set an autoresponder for after hours and weekends that direct them to our call center for that instant support that they want.
Yeah.
So it really helps manage that customer experience.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we're learning with you, so that was good for us to learn that. One of the things that Pranav just showed everybody was that we're going to be adding the NLP, natural language processing, artificial intelligence capability against the messages.
Yeah.
When you think about that, where would that help you? What are you thinking when you pull that into the inbox?
Yeah, so first, when we look at our messages, we're able to see patterns, and that has helped us with using that for our frequently asked questions or putting that information right on our Google profile. So really understanding what is being asked and what the sentiments are, and then using that for our content. And then we're building actually our own call center, and so we are able to use that for the intent for the phone tree. For those frequently asked questions, we know that there's maybe 5 that are the top 5, and then also for our AI chatbot. And then additionally, when you look at the sentiment, we're able to really understand how a store is performing. So if there's something, they're getting a low sentiment on pricing, and so maybe our rates are a little too aggressive for that market.
Yeah, so you're actually using the data from both reviews and messaging to feed the way you're thinking about communicating to clients. So you'll get feedback like pricing questions and things like that.
Correct.
Yeah. So do you train your team on trends and things like that?
Yeah, and we actually have one person who answers all of the messages. So her and I work closely. Her first couple weeks, really storage is intricate in a different industry, so we had to go over a lot of the auto pay, and a lot of our questions, unfortunately, too, are about auctions. So when they go into having to sell their stuff because they didn't pay. So really educating our team to be able to answer those questions was important.
So when I was talking to Melissa last week, I learned about auctions. I didn't realize that they sold everybody's stuff if they didn't pay their bill.
Yeah, only if they don't pay, and we follow and we follow all of the lien laws in every single state. So
She was like telling me about auctions, and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. But it's true, right? People probably just don't pay, and then after a certain period of time, you got to do what you got to do.
of course, yeah, we need that empty unit.
That would be an interesting message. Where'd my stuff go?
Oh, we get them. Paige is shaking her head. We get them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, listen, that was great because we really wanted to understand messaging and how you practically put it into use. So let's thank Melissa for coming in and speaking at our conference. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right, everybody. First of all, big round of applause for all of our presenters this morning. It is now 10:50. We are going to take a 20-minute break and be back in here at 11:15. Enjoy your 20-minute break. We'll see you at 11:15. Thank you.